Alright, Shalom. I'm your brother Tasiyat coming back with another video. Before I start off, I would like to give all praises and the highest honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem HaKadosh. I want to give double honor to my elder apostles and teachers of Great Millstone, and peace and salutation to the sincere Akyam across the world who will spread this knowledge in truth and sincerity. May the election be upon your household. Khan Shalom. So today I want to make a video concerning Wisdom of Solomon chapter 3. Okay, that by being, righteous and trying to be righteous, okay, it's actually a good thing, even though you sometimes go to many different, tests and many different painful things. Meanwhile, you try to do your best. And on the other hand, people that live wickedly, they just continue with their life like nothing is going on, you see? So, before we start in verse 1, we actually go to verse 24 of Wisdom of Solomon chapter 2, because it's actually there where the story starts, where for you to get the understanding. Let me see. So this is Wisdom of Solomon chapter 2, verse 23. For God created man to be immortal and made him to be an image of his own eternity. So if you read this now, it actually says that the Most High created the man to be immortal and made him to be an image of his own eternity. Now, back in the days, actually before Adam and Eve sinned, if I'm correct, we were actually immortal, okay? We were actually made immortal. And this is talking about the sons of God, which are now here today known as the Israelites. Actually the Israelites, because in the book of Genesis, the Israelites did not exist yet as being referred to an Israelite, but the sons of God. Okay, so the immortal part is not for every human, every race, but only for the sons of God, which are the Israelites. Starting with Adam and the chosen lying down. I'm gonna grab it in a minute also, but first, let's go to the book of Genesis chapter 6 to show that real quick. This is Genesis chapter 6, verse 1. And it came to pass, when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, so when the people started getting children and more children, and daughters were born unto them, so they get daughters, that the sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were fair. So the sons of God, which a lot of people say is talking about the angels, like in the celestial beings, but it is actually the terrestrials, actually the human, in the human form, okay, which are now today known as the Israelites, like I explained. That the sons of God saw the daughters of men. But why is it called daughters of men? Okay, because those were actually mortal beings, just normal humans. Okay, and we were actually immortal, man. We had crazy spiritual power, man. We were strong as hell, And when you are a god, you don't die. You are immortal. Anyway, that the sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were fair. So they was like, whoa, these heathens, they look beautiful. And they took them wives of all which they chose. That is what they did, which is actually not something that we were supposed to be doing, if I'm correct. Taking heathens as wives. Now going back, at least, let me see. Yeah. To show the point that I was making concerning that we are the chosen lineage that comes from Adam. This is 2nd Esdras, chapter 6, verse 54. And after these, Adam also, whom thou madest Lord of all thy creatures. So Adam, was made above all the creatures, to have dominion of all the creatures. Of him come we all, and the people also whom thou hast chosen. So of Adam, come all the people that we see here today, and the people also whom thou hast chosen. So that sounds like a separation to me. So you have the normal human people, and you have the chosen ones, which were actually, immortal back in those days. Okay, so enough from that. Let's go back to Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 2, verse 23. For God created man to be immortal and made him to be an image of his own eternity. Yeah, man. So he was actually representative of the Most High's immortality, not dying, being powerful. Okay. Which you will be back in that state soon again, in the kingdom. And even, before the kingdom comes, the elect will receive a certain amount of spiritual powers, man, to do some damage upon this planet Earth. Okay. Actually, to punish these ungodly people. You see? Nevertheless, through envy of the devil came death into the world. So through the devil, which when you go back to the book of Genesis, when it reads about the serpent, when it speaks about the serpent, it's not actually talking about a literal serpent. It's talking symbolically about a person. Genesis chapter 3 verse 1. Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which the Lord Yahweh had made. So the serpent was, subtle, like slick, more slick than any other thing he created. And he said unto the woman, Yea, had God said, Ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden? Now this tree is actually talking about, philosophies and knowledge, if I'm correct. And it's speaking symbolically here. And the woman said unto the serpent, We may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, the Most High had said, Ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die. So where's the part? Yes, verse 6, jumping to verse 6. And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and that it was pleasant to the eyes, and the tree to be desired to make one wise, she took of the fruit thereof, and did eat, and gave also unto her husband with her, and he did eat. You know the saying, food for knowledge, okay, food for thought. That is actually what happened here. She was listening, to these philosophies and ways of this serpent, which is actually a person, a devil, a deceiver, which today is known as Esau, the so-called white man. It already happened back in the days. Basically, Eve was listening to him like, oh, okay, I see, and that, this and that and the third. Meanwhile, the Most High said, don't eat of that fruit, meaning, and of the tree, meaning don't listen to those philosophies of those people, because trees are also referred to as people. And that is basically when she told her husband also about it, and that is how death came into this, to us basically. So, Wisdom of Solomon chapter 2 verse 24. Nevertheless, through envy of the devil came death into the world, and they that do hold of his sight do find it. Okay, so if you hold on to the side of the devil, okay, meaning not worshipping Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, you will find it, man. By the way, I think I'm gonna make 2 parts, man, because I did not think I was gonna get this deep, this longer in Wisdom of Solomon chapter 2, but I'm just make 2 parts. One concerning Wisdom of Solomon chapter 2, the last 2 verses, and the other of Wisdom of Solomon chapter 3. So anyway, let's go to the book of 2nd Esdras. 2nd Esdras chapter 7, starting at verse 13. For the entrances of the elder world were wide and sure, and brought immortal fruit. If then they that live labor not to enter these straight and faintings, they can never receive those that are laid up for them. So back in the days, it was a little bit easier, to enter, in basically in a good state, okay. But nowadays, with all these different types of temptations, it's getting a little bit harder, you know. So we actually messed up, man. You know, if you follow the devil, you die. If you follow the Most High, you actually live. And yes, sometimes even though you follow the Most High, you will literally die in the flesh. But still, there's that you follow the path of life. With this knowledge, this wisdom and understanding. Verse 14. If then they that live labor not to enter these straight and vain things. So when you are alive and you labor, meaning work not, work not to enter these straight and vain things, but you're working not to enter. Straight is like narrow, and vain is like vague, like, it almost seems as you're doing it for nothing. Sometimes it be like that though. Straight is like, basically struggling, man. It doesn't mean necessarily that you always have to struggle, but that is, part of this walk. They can never receive those that are laid up for them. So if we don't go through these trials and these tests, we can never receive, those blessings that are waiting at the end of this path. Okay. So going to verse 18. Nevertheless, the righteous shall suffer straight things and hope for wide. So the righteous, the ones that are trying to do the will of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, they will suffer straight things, so go through much struggles, okay, narrow situations, real tight situations, like almost no way out. And we're gonna hope for a wide one, and the wide is the kingdom, okay. That is where we have our rest. For they that have done wickedly have suffered the straight things. So you also have people that live, real wicked, and are struggling also, suffering straight things, and yet shall not see the white, and not see, that get great reward, you see, for the wickedness that they have been doing. Okay. So that is concerning that. And like I spoke earlier in the video, we used to be very strong, man, back in the days, known as sons of God, like basically mini gods, Like the scripture says, ye are gods, I believe. Psalms 82 verse 6, I have said, ye are gods, and all of you are chosen of the Most High. Now the word God, which is in the Hebrew, Allah, means power. Okay, so we are powers, basically like mini Most High's representative on this earth. Actually, that is what we are supposed to be doing as Israelite men, And all of you are children of the Most High. And literally not all, meaning all humans, but all, of concerning the nation of Israel. Okay, we belong to the Most High Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai. Now, from there, let's go to give an example. Let's go to the book of Joshua, chapter 23. Where's Joshua? Joshua is supposed to be, yes, Joshua 23, verse 10, and it reads, 1 man of you shall chase 1,000, for the Lord your power, he it is that fighteth for you, as he hath promised you. So this is clearly speaking about somebody that's very strong, man. This is how strong we used to be, man. That one of us was strong enough to let 1,000 people flee away. So that means that you are even stronger than those 1,000 people. If 1,000 people are scared and running away, that means that you can handle even more than 1,000 people, man. Do you know how strong you have to be to do that? Make a whole crowd of 1,000 people just run away from you. Okay? And there was already then a separation, between normal humans and immortal ones, like the Israelites, like I spoke about. Like, but don't forget, this is the Spirit of the Most High that comes upon you to give you that power. Just like how Samson, received that power to slay 1,000 men, but afterwards was very tired, man, because his body couldn't handle that, that type of spiritual power, basically, man. It was like a lot, you know. So don't forget, man, it's the Most High that basically puts that spirit upon you for you to be able to handle these things, man. To be able to kill so much. So I had also one in the book of Deuteronomy. I believe 32. Which verse was it? Salakia. Let me see which verse it was. Yes. Verse 30. It reads, "How should one chase 1,000 and two put 10,000 to flight, except their rock had sold them and the Lord had shut them up? For their rock is not as our rock, even our enemies themselves being judges." Okay, so the Spirit of the Most High comes upon you. You become very powerful, man. Make this enemy flee away. But basically, again, one chasing 1,000 and two Israelite together put 10,000 people to run. Do you know how powerful that is, man? Okay, when you let those people flee. Now there was one more scripture I wanted to grab also. But I don't know where it is anymore. What was it again? Was it Leviticus chapter 26? Yeah. Leviticus 26, verse 8. "And 5 of you shall chase 100, and 100 of you shall put 10,000 to flight, and your enemies shall fall before you by the sword." Now, remind you that there's also, different types of levels of these powers, man. Not everybody has the same strength, okay? Not everybody receives the same blessing also. So there was different types of strength back in those days, man. Okay, but basically 5 of you shall chase 100. You can see that as, the normal Israelites. And the scripture concerning 1 shall chase 1,000, the more elite Israelites. Okay, there's a difference. There's an order to certain things. Okay, so that was it on the spiritual power. Now I'm gonna just leave it at this. Hope it was edifying, and I'm gonna make a part 2, Lord willing. Okay, shalom.